Oh, sorry. Sorry, I pressed the button and then everything went off at once. My laptop went off, everything went off. I was like, that was really weird. Hello, and welcome to Too Long Didn't Read Tabletop RPGs. My name is Fiona. I use she, her pronouns, and this, goodness knows what this is. This is an accountability stream where I read in a randomly rolled RPG that I've got in the archives that I've been like, oh, I should check this out for my podcast. What am I rolling? And we're going to spend an hour or two just reading it through and seeing what we like, what would we improve, and anything about accessibility, so that if you can want to play it yourself, you can do. Hope you're doing well, friends and neighbours and people from whoever's watching this later. Hope you're having a good weekend. I had a good week today so far. I was meant to do some more editing. I managed to edit one of the episodes I had on the list to do, which is good. But there's always editing to do. There's always more stuff to do, and I'm like, should I be doing a stream when I need to do some editing? Because technically, I don't have an episode for tomorrow yet, or where the main part of it's edited, but I need to record an intro and outro, which will be fine. I just find them really boring to do, like just sitting down and writing and then recording them, and like I want to be doing other things. I want to be playing games. So that's why. Good evening. Oh, hello, the bad spot. Good evening, my friend. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for joining. What was I going to say? So yes, I've had a good Saturday. I hope those people in the chat are having good Saturdays as well, wherever you may be. I am going to look at this game. So this is the one that I randomly rolled. I'm not going to do a solo player through of it. I was thinking about it, and then by the time I was like, maybe I should do a stream, it was 8:30. So I was like, probably can't do a solo playthrough, especially if it's a game I've not really done before, but I am excited about this particular RPG we're going to look at today. So we're looking at today Dead Letter Society by Rory Monford. It is a letter writing game. I'm quite fond of letter writing games. One we've definitely done on What Am I Rolling is Quill, the Trollish Delver publishing, and that was quite fun. It was quite crunchy mechanics to that, but I've heard lots of good things about Dead Letter Society games, and also it's got vampires in it, and you know what we love? Vampires. So we're going through that. Oh, that's very kind of you, early morning imp, but that is okay. I don't need it. I'm fine, thank you. So let's just go over from big Fiona face to smaller Fiona face. So this is monfordtales.itch.io. This is where you can get Dead Letter Society, and just go and read through it. It's a very beautiful cover, isn't it? And can I just say, absolute kudos to the a good image to sell, like a physical cover to it. I love the fact you've got almost like a certain name for it, isn't it? Like, well, it's an ink. It's an actual fountain pen, isn't it? Dip in ink too. How cool is that? And you've got some tarot cards at the top there. What kind of flowers is that? Wisteria? No, I'm just making that up now. It's just because I saw something recently that had wisteria on it. Cool. Let's look. So, let's look at the copy for this game. So, live your best on life as the newest member of the Dead Letter Society, an exclusive communication network for vampires. Oh, tick. Pursue your ambitions and question the society's movements in this journaling, and I did try and look this up beforehand. I'm going to say it wrong. Epistolary. No, that's how I say it. How did I look at it before? That's a good-looking game right there. It is Dead Spot. It's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm a big fan of having black and red and having the look at those. You see the teeth there as well. We'll get a good look at it in a second. But let me just epistolary. I'm going to say it wrong this whole time. It's letter writing, guys. Instantly, what this reminds me of is 1,000-Year-Old Vampire by Tim Hutchings, which essentially is about you documenting like a journal throughout your life as a vampire. But but if you lose your journal or you lose some core memories, that changes what the vampire remembers, but not necessarily what the player remembers. So it's absolutely cracking game. So that's instantly what I was thinking of when I thought of Dead Letter Society. Actual letter writing. I'm sorry. Oh, thank you, Dead Spot. Epistolary. You know what? I think that's right too. Actually, that sounds exactly it. So I'm gonna go with that. So if I'm wrong, it's your fault, Dead Spot. Bad Spot. I even say your name wrong. That's great, isn't it? Epistolary. Ugh. I'm so self-conscious out there as a result. Anyway, so it's this journaling and epistolary game for 1 to 2 players. Dead Letter Society is a journaling game where your letters drive the action. Choose your genre, build your world, and discover the joys of corresponding via a secret society with unknown motives. I wonder if it will talk about, if it's two-player, maybe we can have it so that it's like a asynchronous game, so that, you know, you would write one letter, send it to the other player, and they will write one back. A bit like The Machine by Adria Slattery, I think that one is. I really want to try out those games where you do it sort of like a slow burn for a game. I'd love to know that. I accept full responsibility. Thank you, the bad spot. I very much appreciate it. As someone who is so bad at pronunciations, when you get self-conscious at it, and yet doing something like this, it's like, just go for it. So what are the features of this game? So we've got a vampire journaling game that adapts to your preferred playstyle and genre. A letter writing game without the waiting. You've always got something to do. Tarot-driven and intention-based journaling. Decide what you'd like to do, then draw and answer a journaling prompt to develop the idea. Game variants for both solo and two-player games. 6 pre-generated settings and 12 characters with first contact letters designed to inspire your game. So yes, this is why I was thinking of the Quill game by Trollish Delver Games, because they have people that you have in mind of who you would write to in those games, and when you're making your character and stuff, like they're gonna like certain characters over others, so like they might prefer a priest writing to them rather than a knight, for example. Settings features include, we've got a Lovecraft steampunk London, we've got a Roman Republic, an empire, a modern day cozy, I assume that's, modern day cozy 1920s detectives. Is that one cozy? Interesting. Gothic and the far-flung future. Excellent, excellent. Right, and that's it. Well, you can get this game for $15, so roughly, what, £13 or so, which I don't think is too bad. And you consider it is A5, but it is 140 pages, illustrated throughout. I think that's a good, it's good. It's one of those, I think it's one of those games that you would play over and over again. You do get value out of it. Sometimes that's the thing with solo RPGs, is if you play it once, you're like, I enjoyed it, I don't need to do it again. I feel here you can get like good returns on this as well. Alright, and some testimonials there. Oh, there's a playthrough, how to play, exciting. And also available in print. Oh, and all these places. Oh, look, you can get all these places. So if you live in any of these places, Leisure Games, that's near me. Orc's Nest, that's also near me. I don't think they do have it in print. I did see it there. There you go. Anyway, enough about that. Let's go straight into reading PDF, shall we? So there you go. What a cracking cover. I don't think my screen does it justice at all, but the real red of it is really just beautiful, isn't it? The Dead Letter Society, death doesn't mean you can't write back. I'd like that on like a... I always go for t-shirts, but actually, I'd like that as like on a pen or something, or a quill, perhaps. Yeah, I just like that. Just a little bit of highlight on the incisors there of the skull. Really like that. Yeah, Rory Montford, or R. Montford. There we go. I'll zoom as well. To my coterie. Excellent. You got a little Vampire the Masquerade there, or just vampire games in general. When was this published? It published fairly recently, last year, 2023. And I think I did see it on that page, didn't I? It was like mentioned in some sort of... I'm gonna have to go back now and look. Give me 1 second whilst I look at it. Get it right at the top. It's on the wrong side now. That's it. 2023 Indie Groundbreaker Awards. That's pretty honourable mention for that as well. So that's exciting. Great tagline. I absolutely agree. The bad spot. So, my dear Margaret, your letter fills me with elation and trepidation in equal measure. Elation to hear of your progress in finding a cure for our condition. Trepidation on your investigation of the motives of the society that permits our correspondence. I beseech you to proceed with caution, as I have dire news of my own. News that threatens the very existence of our kind. Oh. Raise it down a little bit so I can actually hear myself over the noise. 3 days before your message arrived, I overheard my Warren mates hiss about a new-fangled invention of humanity. None of them understood how it could be done, yet they said a man had found a way to bring the light of the sun to bear on the dark nights of London. They called it a light bulb, and they planned to replace every oil lamp in London with them. How can we survive if our prey surrounded themselves with the one thing guaranteed to turn us to ash? The entire Warren is on edge and planning the most foolish attempts to steal this invention. I feel that they will reveal our existence with their plans, and I dread to think what these humans will do if they discovered one of their superstitions walks amongst them. I will try to calm their fears, take a more rational approach to their dreaded science. Perhaps you could find out more. You have a much greater head for their demonic designs than I do. As for the ball invitation you wrote of, and the unknown author, I beg you, do not go. I cannot risk losing you. Not when you are so close to finding a cure for vampirism. Eternally, James. What a great sign-off. Sorry. Oh, and it is. Oh, how weird. It is screen readable, sort of. I guess it's because it's got some font in the background. But eternally yours, or eternally. Oh, what a great. I love that. I would use that at all. What a great way to start as well. Alright, table of contents. So let's zoom out a little bit so we see what we've got. So, but what this game is about: safety at the table, setting up a game, building a world, building a character, assets, how to play, table talk, determining outcomes, resolving conflict, death, character death or retirement, end of the game, optional rules, card prompts, major arcana, wands, cups, swords, pentacles. So that's going to be all the meanings of stuff, I'm guessing. Yeah, you can see that there. Play sets, and then it goes into the play sets as well, and then resources. So roughly, what, just under 20 chapters or so? But realistically, what we're going to be looking at today is probably going to go all the way to, we'll probably go all the way to, optional rules. Maybe we'll look at some of the card prompts, but we don't want to get into too much detail because we're not actually playing for a game today. And the Tea Time Detective Club, that does sound quite fun. Maybe we will look at one of these play sets. Although, I do like the idea of vampires being in the far-flung future. That's quite interesting. And I guess these people here are the names of our first people we're contacting, which sounds quite fun as well. Oh, the Roman one sounds good. Oh, they all sound very good. But yes, so what we'll do, we'll go through everything. It is I didn't say really, but I did say sort of, but on this bit, it is 140 pages. So it's quite, it's quite a big book, but I think if the first 50 pages or so is basically rules, that's fine. We can get through that, no problem at all. Let's get started. Ooh, scary. Ooh. Oh wow. Oh, maybe I'll say this right at the top of the stream just in case. But hey, there might be some horror stuff in this book, certainly towards like vampirism, anything to do with that sort of thing. So maybe loneliness, isolation. Maybe attacking people, maybe stuff to do with descriptions of blood, etc. So I'm just going to say that at the top of the screen, just in case it comes up. So, your mileage may vary, so if you need to step away, absolutely fine to do so. Ooh, what a great image that is. So, about this game. So, Dead Letter Society is a 2-player game of letter writing and journaling. Each player assumes the role of a vampire with hopes, dreams, and fears. During the game, the vampires will write letters to each other, asking questions, giving advice, discussing their intentions, revealing secrets, and speculating on curiosities discovered over time. Can I just say already, weirdly, I can read this font really well. I think the last couple of ones I've really struggled to really focus on the font, and maybe that's because I'm doing it at a certain time. I like the fact that it's currently, I know I'm going to go in the next couple of pages and it's going to be 2 columns. I like the fact there's big enough text. We don't have 2 columns yet. Oh, it makes me feel so much better. My anxiety is down a lot. Between writing letters, the vampires delve into topics that interest them and learn more about the world around them. This game can be played in person, remotely, or a mix of both styles. Modifications for solo play and shorter games are also included. Oh, I see. So I thought it was going to be a solo game from the off, but actually it is a 2-player game. That's what it's meant to be. Interesting. All right, well. So, what is it about journaling games? In a traditional role-playing game, you control your character's drives, personality, and actions. You might talk as if you were the character, or refer to them in the third person, as you describe their attempts to impact the world. Some games use a game guide, who mediates between player actions and how the world responds to them. In others, the players collaborate more directly with each other. Dead Letter Society is a journaling game where you answer written prompts, interpret them however you please, and record your thoughts. You may use a physical journal, a text document, or even a video to journal your experiences. Ooh, I don't know about that because you know he's like, well, actually, here, but like vampires don't have reflections. Can they be caught on video? That's why I think audio is always better for these sorts of things. Anyway, you'll invent people and places, intriguing situations, and form connections between past events and the current prompt. Write as much or as little as you want. So what is the Dead Letter Society? The Dead Letter Society is a secret communication network that enables the exchange of ideas between its members. It may exist as a physical dead letter office that processes letters as a means of secure electronic communication, or as an ever-changing arrangement of dead drops. Whatever form fits your world, its true purpose, operators, and long-term goals are unknown to new initiates. Ooh. What do we need to play? So one to two willing players. And they must consent to it, I see. Safety tools of your choice, a copy of these rules. One copy of the Dead Layer Society application form. Oh, I bet that's the character sheet. Let me just look at that. That is wow, that's actually linked to the back of it, back of the character sheet. I did not expect that at all. Alright, we'll look at that in a second. Whoop. I like how it's bookmarked though, that's great. The safety tools, I'm sure it's going to link to that chapter as well. A place to take personal notes, for example, a journal, a text document, or chat channel. So yeah, I guess you could play it like on Discord as well. And the tools needed to take them. Vampires can be filmed, but can't use the front-facing camera on their phones. That's just science. That's true. They don't. Yeah, that's like that. So no selfies for them. Hi guys, join my channel. You always have to do the other way. I like that. Technically, isn't your? I mean, it depends on the phone now, but I'm sure your actual camera, rather than the front-facing camera, is supposed to be better for taking selfies with. A way to exchange letters, for example, on paper, by post, email, or chat channel. A tarot card deck that feels personal to you, or a way to generate random numbers for the roll tables. Okay, so there's two different ways to use this game. Fantastic. If you're using a tarot card deck, create one pile containing major arcana and a second pile for the minor arcana. You can either share the tarot deck or use one deck per player. The tarot deck randomizes the prompts that you'll use to inspire your writing. Roll tables are provided if you don't have a deck. Online dice rollers such as Roll-A-Die.net, does that work? Ooh, it's if you trust the site, well, I'll go to the site and have a look. It does work. Amazing. The reason I'm checking this is that when we looked at what's the game we looked at the other day, and I clicked on the link, it didn't work. No, it wasn't. It was Delta Green. Delta Green recommended a site or an app, and the app wasn't in the App Store anymore. There you go. So, again, it's so tricky because I absolutely love being able to be like, oh, so click here and go to a place. If that link is broken for whatever reason, it kind of sucks really. So, always keep it vague. If you typed in online dice roller, you will absolutely get an option. Interesting though, like. I do like the physicality of it on paper or by post and email. I definitely would. It's tricky because if you're playing with two people, you have to be on the same page about it. So if you send like a letter that you put all the work into it, and then someone sends back like an email, it maybe not the same expression, same feeling. Alright, safety at the table. Your safety and mental health should take priority when playing any role-playing game. If you feel uncomfortable, stop the game. Before beginning a new game, take a moment to talk with your fellow player, or check in with yourself regarding the topics you do not wish to encounter. Journaling games can be an intense and emotional experience, and it can be hard to avoid triggering content if it's already written down in a letter. While journaling, check in with yourself regularly and assess how your writing affects you. Role-playing games are fantastic tools to explore difficult subjects, but we must never use them to punish ourselves. Very wise indeed. I think it's so tricky. Yes, because I guess sometimes with letters, you wouldn't get to like the heart of the topic till halfway through, and that's when you're like, I understand now. Lines and veils are one way to communicate your needs. Lines are subjects that should not come up within the game under any circumstances, whereas veils are subjects that should only happen off-camera. Quotation marks there. If you think your letters may contain a sensitive subject you've not discussed, it's always better to check in with your fellow player before committing to it. The Tabletop RPG Safety Toolkit contains these tools amongst many others and is highly recommended. Ooh, what link is that? Let's open that link so I can see it when it comes on this. Oh, that's pretty cool. Let me bring this back. We can show people actually. Where is Chrome? Oh, you've got it there, Chrome. I was just like, let's try again. Yeah, so this is what the link opened up to. So we've got cards, we've got panels, change clocks and credits. Fantastic. That's really good. And I'm glad that still works. I will check that out later. Rid of that. Okie dokie. So, content warnings. Content warnings. The game involving vampires can easily stray into areas with a high emotional toll. Please be aware of your mental health and everyone's boundaries as you write. Some journal prompts touch on grief, overwhelm, anxiety, despair, isolation, and depression. These cards can be removed from the game if not desired. Oh, and that's quite cool. They actually list out those prompts for you. That's quite good. So that if you're like, put those out. What I would say, I would put it as bullet points. Already I'm like, oh, I've lost it. Oh, there's like blood spatter on this as well. Well, hello! Hello, JC Darcy. You are perceived once again. How are you doing, my friend? How are you doing? We're looking at a Dead Letter Society. It turns out to be a two-player game, as well as a solo-player game, so we just started, so you've just got in just in time. How are you doing, my friend? So that's the safety stuff. Oh, no, still going. So, the world building in this game assigns positive and negative traits to vampires, their society, and humanity. Some traits may touch on sensitive topics such as war, religion, or discrimination. Approach these topics with your lines and veils in mind at all times, adjusting them as needed. And then we've got bold and underline. This game has no space for players who wish to express bigotry, exclusion, racism, transphobia, sexism, or any other type of discrimination towards their fellow players or spread hate in any form. Say it loud for the people at the back. Amazing. That is really cool. Alright, so let's go on to setting up a game. Yes, indeed. Although I cannot say that word at all. Our friend in the chat, the bad spot, gave me a cheat. Epistolary. We say it quickly and we don't know, but yes, a letter writing game. It's very exciting. So setting up a game. First, you'll define the tone and the scope of the game you'll like to play, and then work together to build the guidelines for the world in which your characters exist. Finally, you'll create characters who need the Dead Letter Society to pursue their goals. Easy, makes sense. So, setting the tone. Tone or atmosphere describes the overarching themes, feelings, and emotions your characters will explore. For example, you might want to center your game around the themes of romance and friendship, rivalry, loneliness, political maneuvering, confessions and forgiveness, searching for missing people, solving mysteries, supernatural or mundane, seeking cures for vampirism, conspiracies and betrayal. Out of those ones, instantly I'm like, oh, rivalry, which will 100% turn into romance. Political maneuvering could be quite fun as well. I mean, I'm thinking like, think of all those political tensions you get in Vampire the Masquerade. So yeah, 100%. Although, confessions and forgiveness would also be good. Oh yeah, so already I'm like, ooh, so many ways, so many things we can set up. The Dead Letter Society can support tones from light-hearted to dark. It's essential to keep your lines and veils in mind during this discussion. Revisit the safety tools in the safety at the table section if you feel the game is straying into uncomfortable areas. Always got to repeat this stuff. Do like the idea of like jokey vampires now, like proper what we do in the shadows vibes into it. A great image there. So, an example here, Ava and Sam wish to play a game with themes of seeking compassion, forgiveness, and searching a cure for vampirism. So that's probably going to be the play example we're going to have throughout. Oh, the bad spot says, I don't think anyone knows, to be honest. It's a word that has never been said out loud. JC Darcy, I've always said an epistolary myself, but I could be very wrong. See, that's what I say, but I always falter when I say piss. I go epistolary, I don't know. Makes sense that it would only ever be written. I'm glad I'm not the only one that just panics when it happens. Okie dokie, so setting the scope. Scope defines the genre, area, time frame, and real-world length of the game you would like to play. It's very, I guess it's similar to Storybrewers, how they set their games up as well. I do want to cover another Storybrewers game. I know they've had The Birthday that came out recently, but this is what I rolled instead, so we're going to look at this. So, genre. You'll both be playing vampires, the era and style of the game of you play is entirely up to you. You may be vampires in ancient Rome, Victoria, England, steampunk Mississippi, Iowa, a Lovecraftian foggy town, the modern day, or cyberpunk dystopia. The specific details are developed while building a world, but a loose concept at this stage acts as a guide. Alternatively, consult and choose a pre-generated playset. We've got 6 of those. Skip building a world section. These guys, they pick for, of course they go for 19th century, but they're adding possibly steampunk or Lovecraftian themes, but haven't settled on those elements. Fair enough. It is assumed that your characters aren't able to meet in person, which is where the Dead Letter Society comes in. However, it is an open question as to whether they are in the same city or on opposite sides of the world. Your story could take place in a single location or feature your vampires travelling across the globe or further. Yes, because we do have a sci-fi play setting as well. Ooh, I like that. I do like the idea that they can never meet in person, but it's in a single location, so like a tea house, or that they have to leave messages in one place, but they can never be seen together for whatever reason. That's very cool. Alright, time frame. The time between letters could range from a few nights to several decades. Time matters most for pacing your narrative as you journal your experience and write letters. Would you rather experience a frantic, urgent exchange of letters, or a slow burn story that takes place over centuries? Well, I think we're all here for slow burn. I know we haven't spoken about it, JC Darcy, but I know your podcast idea, maybe this could be an example of something we can do for it, huh? Because I've been thinking about it and I 100% want to do it. Real world length. You can measure the real world length of a game of Dead Letter Society by the number of letters each player can expect to write and receive. This is, in essence, the number of turns each player gets in a game. A short game consists of an exchange of 2 to 3 letters per player, each tightly focused on the themes you wish to explore. A longer game may wander more and last for 6 or more letters per player. Alternatively, games can end when a specific requirement is met. For example, when a grand conspiracy is exposed, or even be open-ended. An agreed-upon end condition is beneficial, as it sets an appropriate pace and expectation for what is achievable within the allotted time. Yeah, I think expectation is the big word there. Because, yeah, I do like the idea that you say, okay, we are only doing 3 letters, but it is open-ended what happens. Like, there's no definite thing. It's just almost like you're missing letters. You've just got them in media res, and then the end happens. We'll have to discuss that when you get the chance. Absolutely. I 100% agree with you on that front. Finally, agree on the approximate maximum letter length. Deciding this means each player stays on topic and stops letters becoming increasingly lengthy as time goes by. Oh, I'm bad for that. You may always write shorter letters, but try and stay within the maximum length. The longer real-world length of time a game takes, the more it benefits from longer letters. Interesting. I see. I do like the idea of it being cut off, though. Like, if you're cut off in a certain way, and then maybe you, as the player describes, like, you find the letter, like, torn or yeah, again, if you're going into that whole, like, making the actual letter, I'm going way too deep into this now, but if you're making the actual letters and sending them across, and maybe tearing some of it or burning some of it, it's a really cool prop, isn't it? Yeah, but if it's just a digital thing, maybe you can describe, if you're describing like physical letters, you can actually describe like what the letter looks like. I realise now, because I'm doing my, I'm teaching improv next week in Amsterdam, sorry, Clang, about RPGs and improv, and I use Good Society's like letter writing as an example for like having scenes where you can't instantly respond. I might actually replace that with Dead Letter Society now. Which would be more interest. It gets to the point of the game quicker. And also, Good Society is amazing, but the letter writing is not the main part of it. All right. Okay, building a world. A few assumptions are made in this text about the world you choose to explore together. So, you are a supernatural creature who consumes blood or an equally undesirable food derived from humanity to sustain yourself. I do think that's quite important, because if one of your lines is blood, there are other ways that vampires can feed in folklore. Like, I just coming off the top of my head, one is like obviously energy. We've got energy vampires like Colin from What We Do in the Shadows. Dreams was another one that came up in I think it's Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft. They have like Dampiers as a character class, so you can have there's that, and there was, I think Memories was the other one as well. All those sort of things. Again, I like that it doesn't have to be food. It could be it doesn't have to be blood. It could be something else. You exist in proximity, to humanity. You can interact with humanity. The motivations of a dead letter society are unknown when you begin play. Everything else is up to you, and you can modify or replace prompts as needed to fit your vision. Building a world to play in sets expectations about the rules of your world and what vampires are capable of. Play sets and pre-generated characters are provided at the end of this text. You'd rather jump straight into play. So they are pre-generated characters, I see, rather than oh, of course, because there's two different kinds of characters. Sorry, I'm gonna go back and show you guys now. So, sorry, Muggins here, not understanding. So these are the two characters you're playing. So if you had two players, they can take on each character. I thought they'd be like, this is the first person you're writing to if you're doing a solo play. I mean, it is, but okay, I'm on the same page now. We got there. All right, where are we on? Page 20. Building a world. There we go. So what is, guys? We're 20 pages in. What is a vampire? Begin by deciding what makes a vampire a vampire. That may be the classic trope of disintegrating in sunlight or turning into bats, or something else entirely. Each player takes turns choosing 2 words from the vampiric traits list. Ooh. Once 4 words are chosen, take turns describing how each is a defining trait of vampires. 2 traits are considered blessings by most vampires, and 2 are considered curses. Oh. Okay, here we go. So we've got, what kind of traits? We've got power, attraction, romance, immortality, agility, mystique, control, wealth, seduction, metamorphosis. This is the ASMR Fiona pronunciation guide going on now. Ageless, hypnotic, long-lived, immunity, grace. If it says epistolary in a second, I'll blow my mind. Grace, oration, toughness, sunlight, telepathy, teleportation, domination, speed, healing, beauty, magnetism, cult, followers, familiar. It does feel like word association, doesn't it? Beast, speech, spellcraft, bargaining, desire, otherworldly, elite, political, lust, kiss, lineage, shapeshifting, strength, procreation, hey, protectors, vulnerable, weak, hunger, hunted, hated, unseen, undead, vice, death, killing, mutated, othered, blood, smell, wanted, used, plague bearer, bite, draining, victim, temptation, disguise, disgust, degradation, rotting, marked, tooth, claw, unwanted, fatal, grotesque, tainted, pallor, invitations, religion, stake, unholy, charisma, vampire. It feels very sorry. The reason for that, there's an improv opening where you're like, you say these words and then you just go, I am, and then you say what the suggestion is. So I can just imagine at the end you go, charisma, I am vampire. You must yell bat every time you transform into a bat. Curse or blessing. Oh, could he go either way? Oh, 100. Yeah, you gotta shout bat. That's the only, you go fang, your fangs come out as well. You gotta do your Pokemon catchphrase, right? As well as your Matt Berry impression at all. Oh man, just playing 2 Matt Berries would be amazing. So, for example, they've gone for immortality and metamorphosis, which are both blessings, but then invitations. Oh yeah, it makes sense. They can't go in without being invited, and sunlight, as well as 2 curses. So there's like almost like traditional stuff. I wonder what would be cool is like a suggested. You know what? It's probably going to say it in the playset, right? Suggested vampiric traits. But yeah, if you had like, hey, if you want to play like a game that is like, I don't know, set in the far future, maybe 4 of these. Here's like groupings of these traits. 2 of them blessings, 2 of them curses, which would fit with that. maybe it does that, actually, thinking about it. Hello. The human world. So, secondly, consider the human world. This is the world you live in and potentially existed as a human once. As always, take turns choosing 2 words from the humanities list until you have 4. Assign these words to the aspects of humanity that vampires most admire, and 2 to aspects they deplore. Ooh. Oh, I'm liking this. Alright, so we've got technology, social order, activism, superstitious, modern, medicine, community, history, collectivism, religion, family, friendship, dependable, environmentalism, socialist, capitalist, collaboration, short-lived, memory, tale-telling, atheism, creativity, empathy, critical thinking, culture, selfishness, violent, self-interested, misunderstanding, conflict, futurism, exploration, network, politics, society, space, astronomy, science, disease, climate change, war, dependable, polluting, travel, discrimination, greed, and progress. Nice. Alright. So, to fit in their idea of this, they've gone for suspicious and polluting. They also choose medicine. Medicine in there? They've made one up. I mean, that's quite cool. Finally, they picked science as well. So, so why have they gone for these ones for 19th century knowledge? So they've gone for polluting. The smog in London is a blessing for us. We don't breathe and nobody bats an eye when someone turns up dead on the streets. They think the smog has killed them. Medicine. The advances humans have made are astounding. Outstanding. We may be able to find a cure for vampirism. So that's because it's the 19th century. I like that. It feels very gothic, doesn't it? Science. All these newfangled contraptions confound us. Deplorable. Superstitious. Gaining the trust of a human is hard. Terrifying tales of supernatural abound, some true and some false. The result is either getting an invitation inside. Oh, the result is that getting an invitation inside is excruciating. Alright, finally. Consider the culture and society of the vampiric world. Take turns picking 2 terms from from the vampiric society list, and then discuss how vampires have shaped the society around humanity. Work in the positive and negative aspects of being a vampire and the world you live in. Instead of describing each word as a blessing or a curse, ask a question you'll try to answer during play. Ooh. Okay. So, what have we got? I think I've seen this as beat poetry. And now, my new poem, Vampiric Society. Bats and I, newfangled. Exactly the bad spot. I completely see it. So, we've got hierarchy, social standing, culture, the discrimination, laws, governance, secrecy, morality, feeding, procreation, right? Interactions with humanity, herds, clans, ruling classes, democracy, dictatorship, city-states, conflicts, wars, resolutions, treaties, structure, order, chaos, detachment, resentment, superiority, favours, camaraderie, friendship, bestial, refinement, eloquence, institutions. I just expect epistolary to turn up at any moment. Epistolary, infrastructure, beliefs, value, betrayal, paranoia, tight-knit, servitude, unwritten rules, punishment, community, hideaways, sanctuary, bonds, traditions, antagonists, idols, guilt, isolation, anonymous, and stewardship. Ooh. What have they said in the play example for that? So, so they get like, so they've done it as questions. So they've picked secrecy, morality, hideaways, and servitude. We live in secret, hidden in basements and sewers. Will we ever walk in the daylight again? We struggle with morality. We were once human, but now we outlive our friends and family. How do we stay true to the person we once were? I wouldn't worry about it. Humanity cannot know about us. They're superstitious enough. What would they do if they learnt at least one of one of their tall tales was true. Servitude. Older vampires hoard power and wield it over younger generations. They bind us to them with rituals we don't understand. How would we break these bonds and be free? That is a very cool question, I would say. I would love to explore that during our things. I wonder if 4 is too many. If you're exploring this through your letter writing, like, it totally makes sense to have it like it's a back and forth. I've played games when it's 2-player and you come up with like 3 like agendas that you can work to. I feel 4 is a little bit too many. If you, especially if you're gonna have a short game with like 2 to 3 letters, and the problem is when as soon as you like, okay, I've only got this amount of time, I'm gonna fit everything in, and maybe it's just more things in the background. I think you could generate 4, but maybe you pick 1 to feature over the others. It's just an idea. So then we summarize the world. Talk about recurring themes you feel you need to maximize in your narrative. I mean, that's kind of what I'm just talking about here, isn't it? This is a chance to delve into anything about the world you've created that excites you. Absolutely. Oh. That reminds me of like a British actor whose name has gone from me. He plays, I think it's Paradox in the new Deadfall film. That British actor who's in everything. He's always in period dramas as well. As like not Darcy, but the other one. It's the one that's Jane Eyre, maybe. Rochester, Mr. Rochester. That's all right. So we've built our world. We're now going to build a character. So the characters in Dead Letter Society don't have statistics or skills, but they do have a variety of assets to call on. So are very similar to the 1,000-year-old vampire there. The Society claims some of these assets on application, giving you a direct link or grievance against them. See assets if you want to know more about assets ahead of character creation. If you'd like to understand how outcomes and conflicts are resolved, see determining outcomes and resolving conflict. Yeah. We'll just go through the book as is. So we're going to fill in the application form to the Dead Letter Society. Note that the application form asks about your favourite items, home, location, and allies. These are simplified assets that you may expand upon later. At least one of them will be somehow claimed by the Society as a membership fee. Not the house. Not the horse Clopsy. Oh. Commit to an oath that you will break for the end of the game. Ooh, I love that. Show your application form to the other player and they will show their form to you. Pay the application fee and feel its loss. I wonder if here you could have, if you're going to expand on it a little bit, maybe, because I'm big into betrayal right now. Like I've been playing Blood on the Clock Tower with some friends and I love social deduction games. I wonder if, again, Lines and Veils, PvP, etc. If you were doing rivals, maybe having a secret from the other person that you write down but you keep for yourself. Like, if I get showing the other person so you can like get some details and you get a sense of who they are. But I do like the idea of like holding something back that you can play on and see if they get by the end. The other thing to think about is that what was I going to say? It's completely gone from my head now. I'm going to say something about letter writing and character. It'll come back to me. But I do like showing the other people, but not worrying about. Oh, that was it. So when you're creating characters for this, if it's a 2-player game, I always, and I say this in improv all the time when I'm teaching. When you're doing 2-person scenes, what happens all the bloody time is people go, "Oh, it's my first day. Hi, how are you?" Like it's always like an intro. Because people, as people knew. Always go with like you've known this person for at least 6 months, so you may not be like best friends. You might not like them, but it's of them, so you know enough about them. You can recognize them, perhaps. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I still struggle after 6 months, but it means that there is a familiarity. So we get rid of those scenes of like, "Hi, how are you? This is a transactional scene," etc., etc. Yes, Matthew McFadden. Thank you, the bad spot. Yes, from Succession. The one true Darcy. Yeah, that guy. Yes. See, I knew chat would have my back on this. I'm just there going like, "Oh, he's in that thing," and you guys are like, "We know who." Yes, Matthew McFadden. Am I being Am I being silly? Does it look like Matthew McFadden? I also feel like Matthew McFadden. Is that the name of one of the? Is it like one of the guys from Boyzone? Or am I just being silly now? Anyway, let's move on. The application fee. The application fee represents the cost of joining the society and its physical, financial, social, and emotional hold over you, taken to ensure you do not betray its confidence. The fee is determined after players have reviewed each other's application forms. Ooh. Take turns to agree on a reasonable cost from each other's assets. And describe the hold the society has. These can range from an ambition, i.e. a task that favours society, to leverage over dear allies. Let's have a look at the example. So we've got Margaret Bird, who wishes to collaborate with someone on her scientific research. She has the following assets. So she's got a decorative pen, which was given to her by father. I don't think the society will be interested in that, I'll be honest. Sanctuary, a warren beneath London Bridge. I mean, it's probably worth quite a lot of money, I'll be honest. But also, London Bridge? Oh, sorry, Tower Bridge. Wait, Tower Bridge? Oh, I wouldn't go there. You got Igor, rival scientist with questionable methods. Scar, a physical emotional scar, burning welt that doesn't heal across her abdomen, left by an encounter with a creature from the smog she doesn't understand. Ooh. Strongly held principle, with courage she can accomplish anything. And ambition, a purpose for joining society, meet a scientific collaborator. Difficulty 1, as it's met once she makes contact with Sam's character. Let's see. So they review it, and the fee the Dead Letter Society asks for is to investigate and acquire a sample of the creature from the smog that caused her lasting harm. Oh dear, that sounds tricky. She adds this asset to her sheet. She adds this to her asset sheet with a difficulty of 2, as although she knows where she was hurt, she doesn't know what she's looking for, and the creature is dangerous. I think it's easy to give it like a possession that they'll just take the place. Something different. That's quite a good fee, I think, like a task to be given. Is that what it said? It was like a task. Fees can range to leverage over dear allies. Oh, so it can be an ambition or leverage over dear. Okay. Oh, and this is the example of the character sheet. Ooh, this character sheet. Yes, it is a. Oh, I love stuff like that. You get a signature. That's quite cool. I do like the style of it, but I feel there's not enough space to write things down. You've got a lot of space up here. I know they're trying to be very cool with their stained glass windows, but I think you need to bring these up so everyone, because these are different sizes, and maybe you want to write more about the emotional scar. I don't know. I just want to have more space for it. What's that say there? Oh, sire. Oh, okay. Henry, Master of Rats, Wallace. You have to call him by that name. Henry, Master of Rats. Quite okay. I like how it's set out though, about like you have the stuff up here, and then this is the final bit. Approved by S. So I'm guessing S is that other person. Did she say Simon? Sam. Oh, approved by Sam, I guess. Okay, it's alright. Again, I just would want some more space up here, perhaps, if I want to write a bit more detail for myself. Why do I know this? Brian McFadden was in Westlife, I think. Why do I know this? I don't know. I didn't know that, though. Thank you. Yes, I know anything McFadden is based. Like some sort of disproportionate amount of space to write a name. Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Yeah, that's wild, that at the top. Unless you're going to do like a Master of Rats. Margaret, Master of Science. I do like the fact that we've got McFadden into this. Alright, assets. Assets are gained, developed, used, and lost throughout the game and fall into 6 categories. Oh yeah, so again, so I'm looking over there because I know that's where my 1000-year-old vampire book is, and they have a similar thing with the assets. We've got item, location, actor, scar, principle, or ambition. Whilst owned, an asset can be loaned from one player to another by stating as such in a letter. Ooh. Whilst on loan, an asset can be developed or forfeited by the borrowing player, altering the asset permanently. Cards you draw will prompt you to develop or forfeit assets, and you may use assets at any time. If you come to an unprompted realization about an asset and feel it would be appropriate, develop or forfeit the asset as you see fit. So you don't have to follow it, you don't have to wait until the prompt comes up. So what does it mean to develop an asset then? So either you create a new asset or add an additional information about an existing one. You will usually do this with an asset you use to answer a card prompt. So, the ambition asset is an exception to this rule. Ambitions have a measurable endpoint and are progressed and regressed, representing achievements and setbacks. Assets, on the other hand, can be developed indefinitely. So I'm guessing. There you go. So this is the asset here, the ambition one. Scars use the word suffer rather than develop, but the progress is the same. Ooh, interesting terminology there. Alright, forfeit an asset. So when you're asked to forfeit an asset, you remove it from your control and no longer possess it. Strike it from your asset sheet, but do not permanently delete it. A reminder of what it stood for, even though you can no longer use it, may inspire your writing. Yeah, that's exactly what 1000-Year-Old Vampire does. It's like, you can use it, and you just got to scross it through, so that you, the player, know what you did have before. So when you forfeit an asset during a journaling prompt, incorporate how it is expended into your writing. For example, a key may be lost, or a close friend may show their true colours. Oh no, not Clopsy. The ambition asset is an exception to this rule. They can be progressed and regressed. A single setback does not end an ambition. Scars use the word heal rather than forfeit, but the process is the same other than when you have no scars. If you need to forfeit an asset and do not control the type required, choose another asset instead. If you have no assets to forfeit, your vampire is destitute. Oh no! And is at risk of being expelled from the society. Oh no! Consult your fellow player and discuss a fitting consequence. Some examples include a loan from the society that comes with severe costs, a lack of sanctuary that, when the morning comes, turns the vampire to dust, and the society finds another vampire to continue the correspondence. Oh no! A vampire hunter discovers the destitute vampire's letter cache and seizes the opportunity to infiltrate the society. I love those two final options. They're great. Absolutely. Sorry, I'm trying to get that last bit there. Oh yeah, I think this is fine. This is fine. But I think you want severe costs because you're writing in such a way that, you know, if your letters are found by humanity, especially if they're developing stuff, oh yeah, absolutely. Oh, I've got another list, guys. Hooray! Brian Master Rats McFadden. Absolutely. Live for hundreds of years, gain many titles. You need all that space to if you're going to play your cards right. I agree, JC Darcy, 100%. Hear me out. A 2-player letter writing game where one player is Brian McFadden. Matthew McFadden. McFadden, and the other one is Brian McFadden. And neither understands why they're writing to each other. Hey, you better copyright that now. The bad spot. I sense that could be a real winner in 2024. You'll at least get one copy sold. I will definitely buy that copy. Okay, so we have asset types and inspiration. The following list of adjectives may inspire assets. As you use them, strike the adjective from this list to avoid repetition. So we have bloodthirsty, seductive, mysterious, powerful, alluring, elegant, ethereal, sinister, devious, vicious, strong, cunning, sensual, attractive, mesmerizing, enigmatic. Is this doing anything for anyone? Like, put this on your Tinder profile. Fierce, cold, hard, dangerous, somber, haunting, prowling, stealthy, formidable, dark, creepy, sinister, majestic, wild, exuberant, graceful, predatory, eerie, lethal, gothic. Oh no, this is the one that gets me. I said it the other day and I didn't get it right. Hang on. Malevolent. It's because I had to change it in the script and I struggled. I just had to say evil instead. Manipulative, unforgiving, weak, chilling, macabre, sinful, cursed, enthralling, hypnotic, melancholic, enchanting, dashing, ghoulish, rotting, otherworldly. What is that one? Tenebrous? Tenebrous. Diabolical. Ghastly. Get the Pokemon out there. Cryptic, esoteric, enigmatic, cute, beautiful, charming, nitpicking, paranoid, depressed, narcissist, detached, bestial, unlucky, clever, radiant, youthful, aged, delicate, ugly, uncouth, dull, rude, caustic, mean, untidy, vengeful, stingy. Oh, stingy, sorry. No, stingy. Not stingy. No. Angry, jealous, kind, charitable, forgiving, gentle, gullible, trustworthy, considerate, verbose, fragile, mysterious, melancholy. Oh, because we've got melancholic and melancholy, complex and ragged. Assets. I would play the shit out of that game. Working title: Far from the McFadden Crowd. Hey, I put it up. Pay what you want. You never know. There might be some Westlife fans. One for the mums, perhaps. Or anyone that likes Westlife or period drama. So we've got item, which is an inanimate object. So we must be describing what kinds of things we're thinking of. There's an inanimate object that can be moved from one place to another, such as a mysterious key, a fragile bone, a gothic piano, a creepy pendant, an aged mobile phone. I love the idea. It's like, all right, I'm going to move it from one place to another. Gothic piano. You're like, oh man, I've got to carry this bloody thing down so many stairs. Okay, so then we've got location, a physical space where things can happen. They can be places of safety or where you meet other humans or vampires. However, the focus is on the place and the benefits, in brackets or drawbacks, it provides, not who you meet there. This is very important because when I ask my improvisers to like do some world building and do some scene painting, so then you're like, here's a room, like let's start to dress the room. There's always someone that goes, and there is a man at the desk and he's thinking this, that, and the other, and you're like, no man at desk, just the place. Don't worry about the people. You will be the people. You don't want to ascribe like thoughts and feelings about what's already in the space. Someone will have to go play that, whereas it's more like, this is what the wizard's tower looks like, as if the wizards popped out for like 5 minutes to go get some tea bags or something. So here we've got an example of a cute bookshop. Oh yeah, a secondhand bookshop in a vampire game. Absolutely. An eerie market, a gullible victim's home. Ooh, that could be really dark, couldn't it? A somber office, a macabre place of worship. Okay, so the actor is a person of interest in your narrative, who may be human, a vampire, or other supernatural creature. Or you can absolutely get, all right, chat, you're going to help me again. What's the BBC Three drama which had flatmates, which was a werewolf, a vampire, and a ghost? And it was really good, and it made me cry. And he got rid of the ghost after like a couple of seasons, and they had to move places. I can't remember what it's called now. I want to say undead flatmate, but that's not what it is. We've got some examples here of Alexander, the stealthy thief, who once stole my favourite book. Oh, bastard. Or Mixie, the vengeful vampire hunter who I narrowly escaped. Father Jacob, a charitable priest who looks the other way when I feed from his flock. Oh, Father Jacob, honestly. Being human. See? You're on it, the bad spot. You're absolutely on it. Yeah, how good was Being Human? I never watched the American version. I hear it was okay, but just remember, like, watching it. It was in the times where I had to watch it in real time, otherwise I'd miss episodes because we didn't get iPlayer at my house. Oh, God, it was so good. Really loved it. I remember a couple of those before Aidan Turner became very big, as did Russell Tovey became very big. Russell Tovey and the person that played the female werewolf. Minor spoilers for like a show that's been off air for 10 years. They used to do Comic-Cons, and there were so many people that would bring fan art of werewolves doing stuff to each other, and you're like, okay guys, maybe they're just actors. Oh, but yeah, Being Human, absolutely. You're definitely winning the Where Pop Quiz bad spot. You absolutely are. You absolutely are. There is no prizes, but you have my ongoing sort of like, oh, thank you. You understand where my references are. The result of physical or emotional trauma. So we're talking about scars now. So they should include a short statement about how you acquire them. For example, we have I sustained an ugly stab wound in my left shoulder when I stumbled during a rooftop fight with a ghost. These are all like stories that you tell around the pub, right? Lilies fill me with dread. Their scent was the last thing I smelt before my unknown sire took my human life. Ooh. Yes, of course, it's not going to be physical necessarily. It could be emotional. It could use all the 5 senses. Very cool. I find it hard to trust, and I am consumed with paranoia when people try to get close to me. I've suffered betrayal one too many times. You need to find your person who's 100%. That's for sure. Heal a scar. So healing a scar works the same as forfeiting any asset, but you may rationalize it differently. Physical wounds may be removed, supernatural scars ease, and emotional traumas confronted. If your scar has undergone several developments, it may be more appropriate to heal the scar in stages, but you are the ultimate judge of what is there. As with other assets, when you heal a scar, strike it from your asset list. The memory of it's still there, but the scar no longer affects you. If you have no scars to heal, progress an ambition instead. Oh, interesting. It reminds me a little bit of, we did an episode on where, it was the last episode that went out with Game Therapy UK. Really great charity, I highly recommend checking out their work, where they play games with people who are vulnerable to social isolation, and one of the groups that they run games for are army veterans, army veterans, naval veterans, etc. And I think I said this last stream as well, so apologies if I'm repeating myself, but this idea that, they did their Lines of Veils to play, and they were like, hey, there's some things in these games that, they want to play like Call of Cthulhu, and they want to do this, and they want to do that, and they're like, hey, are you guys okay, like, going through, like stuff that could possibly be triggered? And they're like, do you get triggered by stuff like this? And they're like, oh yeah, we absolutely get triggered by it, but it's about exploring it in a space where we can then experience it, and then change how we feel about those memories and those scars, and that's what it reminds me here, that the memory of it is still there, but it doesn't affect you. You've played it through safely, explored it safely with friends around you. So yeah, that's what it reminds me of. So I like the wording of that. I feel that's quite important to put that in there. We then have principles. So principles and morals that guide your vampire. If you're unsure about your response to a situation, consider your vampire's principles. So for example, I will not drink human blood or let a human come to harm. I will not leave my food alive, it knows too much. I always seek revenge if somebody crosses me. Your character may develop principles that conflict with each other. For example, a desire to never kill a human and never end the night hungry could come to a terrible head when confronted with a desired need to feed and a human nearby. Conflicts such as these can be a source of narrative drama. However, conflicts such as I will always turn left at a crossroads and I will always turn right at a crossroads should be avoided wherever possible. Yeah, what is those conflicts, honestly? The reward is feeling smug. No prizes, I'm out. Oh, I'm sorry. That's a good reward, to be fair. Oh, that's fair. I'm just glad you guys are here whilst I'm just wittering on about a game that I hope we'll play at some point. So we're going then on to ambition. So the goals that you want to achieve. Assign a difficulty to when you declare an ambition between 1 to 3, where 1 is simple and 3 is complex. Mark a difficulty as a series of checkboxes to check or erase as the game progresses. Unlike the other assets, you may be instructed to progress or regress an ambition. Progressing an ambition fills a checkbox and represents measurable progress on the task. Regressing an ambition is a setback and erases one checkbox. If you have no ambitions to progress, declare an ambition instead. If you have no ambitions to regress, declare an ambition and increase its difficulty by 1 checkbox. If you have ambitions but they have no filled checkboxes, you may declare. If you have ambition but no filled, you may declare an ambition but then add 1 difficulty to the checkbox. Do you have multiple at the same time? I assume so, right? Must be the case, certainly if you have ambitions but there's no filled checkboxes. Completing an ambition. So if you fill the last checkbox, it succeeds. Consider the progress and regression statements that lead up to this moment and assess the consequences you may have accrued along the way. Then describe the results of achieving your goal. Abandoning a mission. You empty all of an ambition's checkboxes. You may strike it from your asset list. Forfeiting the ambition recognizes that you'll never pursue this goal or a similar one ever again. Good kitty cats. Done. Alright, so that's character creation then. Done. So, how to play. Play proceeds in 3 phases. The letter writing phase. See, they don't even use the epistolary word or epistolary word. They write a letter and send it. The society phase. Interact with society. And then the chronicle phase. Receive a letter and chronicle your own life. Ooh, there's a diagram. We love a good diagram. Okay, let me read the top of the thing. So, players begin the game in different phases. One player, player A, starts in the letter writing phase and writes their first letter. Other player, player B, starts in the society phase and has their first interaction with the Dead Letter Society. If both players desire more inspiration before writing their first letter, consider the variant rule of the story so far. Oh man, I'm pumped for variant rules, but let's have a see. Ooh, love that. So, letter writing phase is simply write a letter and send it, resolve a society event in the society phase, and chronicle, receive a letter, and chronicle your own life. Oh, nice. Yeah, there is. I will say there's no alt text, unfortunately, but here you got a little bit of writing that describes what it is, which is brilliant. We don't get that enough, really. The reason I go on about it is that because I work as an e-learning technologist in a higher education institution, and having to get academics just to write a tiny bit of alt text like this, because like, what if this image didn't load up on a website? What if the video didn't work, etc.? You need to make sure that everyone can read it. I think this makes total sense. That you could write this as the alt text for this image. But yeah, such hard work. Right, letter writing phase. So this is phase 1. So this is where you draft a letter from your vampire. Letters shape the course of the game. Write about the topics you care about and want to explore further. As you write, you can introduce experiences from your journal, past letters, or inspiration that strikes you in the moment. The only rule is that the letters are the story. Your letter can take any form, from a carefully drafted piece of penmanship to a scrolled web of notes crammed in an envelope. Oh, that would be so cool, like you writing it on like post-it notes, and then just like put it in an envelope and then just send it off to my friend, and then you're like, oh my god, what is she talking about, you know? That'd be so cool. Write as many as your vampire would. When the letter is ready, send it to the other player. Send it and let the other player know they have mail. Dead Letter Society, you got mail, of course. Some advice. Oh, I love getting advice about this sort of stuff. So, if you're feeling stuck trying to put your thoughts into a letter, consider the following suggestion. Be inquisitive. Ask questions of your fellow vampire and seek advice. Ask for their opinions and inquire about their own experiences. Share your interests. Write about what interests your vampire. This could be relating to experiences from your journal, puzzling events you'd like to untangle, or theories about why the Dead Letter Society exists. The society primarily puts you in touch to help each other. Secrets shouldn't stand in the way of the way of progressing a story. Very true. I mean, I did say earlier that I'm a big fan of like adding secrets to things, but I think like if you are holding something back, it should come out and play 100%. Be a good listener. I think this is just a general rule for role-playing games, to be honest with you. Respond to their questions. So that is... So yes, be inquisitive, share your interests, and respond to their questions. Oh, and I've got some more here, but... take an interest in what interests them. Invent a problem. Consider what interests the other vampire and add a problem or circumstance under which they may flourish or flounder if you're writing as rivals. Excellent. Very good. You embellish your letter. Sorry. Embellish your letter however you please, highlighting areas you think are particularly important. If you learn an asset, highlight how to avoid misunderstandings. Share what you've developed about an asset you're learning. For example, I enclose a mysterious key, though I do not know which lock it opens. If you're exchanging physical letters in person or by post, decorate the page as your character might. If a doodle expresses a thought, doodle. Sign off your letter in a way that invites a response. Ah, nice. Love that. So, second phase, society phase. After sending your letter, you interact with the Dead Letter Society. Draw one card from the major arcana, make a note of the card, and resolve the prompt and asset development. Journal as much as you like, weaving the society's impact into your own life. Do not return the card to its deck. Right, so story, like what we would see is the letters, but for you as a private thing, you have the journaling thing that's impact. Ooh, so like 2 levels of stuff. That could be really interesting as a 2-player RPG. That, because I'm thinking of like content now. You were doing it as audio, like leaving voice memo messages or anything like that, going away and writing stuff, and then coming back and debriefing, saying, "Hey, so this is what I drew," and discussing how that affects. That could be interesting. Like what the other vampire doesn't see, but what the audience sees, as if you're making your Well, I do like that. That's really good. Chronicle phase. You send a letter and feel the influence of the society. Finally, you go about your own life and pursue topics from your correspondence and journal. The events of this phase occur in any order, but you must receive a letter before continuing to the letter phase. During this phase, receive and read a letter. Spend up to 3 chronicle points. When you receive a new letter, open it and read it at any time in your chronicle phase. Consider what interests you could act on. Explore these topics and those of previous letters and your journal using chronicle points. Optional. Ooh. If playing in person or on a video/audio call, the letter writer should read their letter aloud before it is opened by you. Ooh. This allows the impact of the letter to be felt by both parties, breaks the silence, and offers an opportunity to pause and talk about the direction the story has turned in. Ooh. I like that you could have somebody reading it out as you're reading it, as like a sort of narrative tool that you have to press play on an audio thing as somebody reads it out, so that almost as if you're hearing their voice as you're reading it. Oh, I do like that as an optional rule, sure. And again, doing it in person as well, giving the time to do it. I think for this, I definitely would keep it short, so it would be like maximum 3 letters each. But then spending the whole afternoon, maybe evening, doing it so that people have time to write, and we're not rushing it per se, but doing it in one day rather than over several days. Imagine playing this game and the letter you get sent to the wrong house. Some old dear opens it and thinks she's a vampire pen pal. Yes, do make sure you've got the correct date. Yeah, or a random different email address, and so it's someone with the same name as you but sort of changed slightly. That's so funny. Yeah, I can imagine an old dear going, "Who's this? Who's this person?" So chronicle points. We begin each chronicle phase with 3 chronicle points. Spend 1 chronicle point to learn more about topics that interest you, delve into memories, pursue your agenda, or add depth to an ongoing event. To spend a chronicle point, state what you'd like to explore further, i.e. your intention, and then draw a card from the minor arcana. Make a note of the card, and then resolve the prompt and asset development in your journal. Suggestions will go from this side. Going into 2 columns, I hate it. Suggestions on stating intentions. So choose topics you want a stake in developing. Your answers to the card's prompt will influence your letters and, in turn, the story's direction. When you state your intention, consider the following. Ask an open-ended question using how, what, where, and why. Avoid questions beginning with will, when, or should, if possible. The prompts aren't about predicting the future, rather exploring the events you have experienced or are experiencing. Give intentions related to yourself and what you'd like to discover, not what other people might know. For example, how can I improve Jules the rat's opinion of me, instead of what does Jules the rat think of me? Yeah, bringing it back to yourself rather than other people, absolutely. You're the one that's in control of that side of the game. State 1 intention at a time. For example, a journal prompt regarding where have I heard of Van Helsing is separate to where you act on that information. Yeah, absolutely. If it's like me and doing any adulting stuff, I have to at least break it down into small things like look up Van Helsing in the phone book, find out where they live, drive to said place, kill. That's at least 4 days worth of work. Even that last bit. So adding depth. When you answer a prompt, you may want to add an additional depth or complications to the encounter. To do this, spend 1 chronicle point and draw a card from the Minor Arcana, interpreting the prompt in the context of your ongoing journal entry. Yes, that's kind of what it was saying up here, right? I prepared carefully and head out towards the night to meet Van Helsing. How does he evade me this time? I squeeze into an air vent and hope to avoid discovery. Where will I find a replacement part for the escape pod? Ah, that's a science one there. I found another body in the library. What was different about this one? Margaret told me not to go. Her advice echoes in my ears as I leave the safety of the Warren. I want to find out more about this light bulb invention, but don't know where to start. What clues do I find tonight? I want to reform our society. I need a position my kin will respect. What happens when I call on a favour from Mr. Moore? Who is Mr. Moore? That's what I want to know. I foreseen the death of Julius Caesar. Why do I tell no one? Ah, interesting. So here we go. So Margaret has been invited to a ball by an unknown to her vampire. Suspicious of their motives, but wants to learn more, so she states her intention. I attend the mysterious ball and take many precautions as I suspect this is dangerous. How can I survive the night? She then draws the 2 of Cups. She sees the assets and looks at Igor, goes to develop her relationship with him further and creates another actor to her list of assets, or forfeits the relationship with Igor. As one of the themes that Ava and Sam decided to explore was forgiveness. She decides that she'll develop her relationship with Igor further. Have they had one large misunderstanding? Right, I see. So it looks like your intentions should be, realistically, 1 sentence or 2, and then that question which revolves around what you think, or something to do with your character rather than an NPC that's not there. So, 2 of Cups, so this is an example here. So our beloved ally gets a message to you. How do the words "we need to talk" affect you? And we've got some keywords here like partnership, trust, and vulnerability. We either got develop the actor or forfeit the actor. Is it a difficult or welcome conversation between you? Either way, it's one which makes you, where both make yourselves vulnerable to each other. What do you learn of them, and vice versa? Or do we forfeit? One of you was misguided. Who was it? There is heartbreak and pain as you let each other go. What did you want from each other that was different? Oh, those are good prompts as well, aren't they? Really good. Oh, that's a reading of there as well. Topics you want to stake in developing. Come on, Rory knows what she's doing. Absolutely. Yeah. So this is the response. I'm guessing that it moved on from here, so that's fair. So I found the most beautiful red velvet dress for the occasion, and only stained it slightly as I left the Warren. The night was clear, and with a near full moon to light the way. The London fog swirled around my ankles and swished beneath my skirts as I approached the long driveway and beautiful grounds of a mansion. I paused in trepidation. Whoever invited me knew me, and I did not know them. Why did they want me here? A servant startled into action when they saw me. I suppose they must have been warned of my appearance. Another unwelcome surprise, and handed me yet another letter. The writing was the same as the invitation. We need to talk. I looked round, frightened, and the servant noticed. He pointed to a fountain and a lone figure silhouetted there. I approached, ready to flee at any untoward move. It was Igor, dressed as fine as I'd ever seen him. A red rose was sandwiched between the pages of a notebook. At this point, Ava wonders if it would be helpful to further clarify on the event that would be helpful. So she draws the Page of Swords to incorporate into event. Ah, so this is the developing of it. Okay. So Page of Swords, this has logic, directness, simplicity. You pass a loud debate that catches your ear. Humans shout at each other humans shout at each about a new rumor. I think it's supposed to say other there as well. One stands, raises his hands, and talks softly. The room quietens instantly. What do they speak of? What do they speak of that? What do they speak of that interests you? Sorry, breaking it down wrong in my head. We've got declare, ambition, or progress. Declare says it is obvious what you need to do and all the steps along the way. What are you planning, and how is it simpler than you want it to be? Than you thought it would be, sorry. And progress says you've been overthinking it. Your plan was unnecessarily complicated. That is clear now. How do you cut to the heart of the matter? So an idea occurs to Ava regarding what Igor wants to talk about. She likes to make some progress on the society's admission fees, her need to investigate a creature that scarred her. And he turned towards her with an oddly nervous expression. A crowd of drunk humans passed nearby, drowning out our first words, but then there was only noise of the fountain, and Igor pressed the notebook into my hands. I glanced inside of it, and then back in astonishment at him. It was his research, or some of it, or at least some of it. Research I hated him for because his methods seemed so cruel. Research on the creature that had attacked me. Crucial research that I needed, pressed around my favourite flower. Ava continues to journal Margaret's experience of the ball that night and changes in her relationship with Igor, until she is satisfied. She can spend another canonical point if she needs guidance or to journal about another experience afterwards. Either way, she amends her asset list with a new statement about Igor and marks the progress of her existing ambition. Well, I love that. I love that as a sort of, very period drama-esque like way of writing. So cool. Alright, so those are the main mechanics as well. I guess we've only got a few more bits to go. So, Tabletop. The Dead Letter Society is a cooperative game, and although you may surprise each other with secrets, that's what I was saying, the story you're building together should bring satisfaction to both sides. You are encouraged to talk to each other at any point about any topic you feel needs further elaboration or collaboration. If you're playing in person, you can pause to talk. However, if the other player is mid-writing, wait until they've put down their pen or had a chance to finish their thought. Then bring up the topic you need. It can be a quiet game if both players are deeply involved in writing. The Dead Voicemail Society, that looks like as a variant, can inject more conversation into an in-person game or on a scene-by-scene basis. Dead Voicemail Society, that sounds excellent. So, there are no dice rolls to determine outcomes in Dead Letter Society. Be guided by the events of your and your own instincts for drama to decide how brilliantly or terribly society life goes for your vampire. If you find yourself torn between several options, invite an option from the other player and work together to resolve it. Most negative cards in the tarot will still contain a grain of hope, and the most positive offer a pitfall or opportunity to squander. If a story twist feels right to you, it is. You know what I'm thinking now? I'm thinking of Letters Live, that, those famous actors and stuff go up and read those letters. Imagine, I don't know how you do it, that would make it quick. That's the problem. You'd need people who are very good at improvising letters that have meaning, etc. That idea that you would start off with one person, somebody else jotting down ideas and describing the letter and almost monologuing to an audience whilst listening to the other person. It'd be really fun, actually. I've been watching lots of Letters Live on Instagram. I think they're great. Resolving conflicts. Conflicts can happen in a few ways. Players may write conflicting statements about the world. They may have conflicting ideas of what should happen to an asset. Players may have conflicting ideas about what should happen to a player's character. Resolve these by finding a way to make both statements true. For example, false statements by an actor leading to different impressions of an event, or choosing the statement that appeals most to both players and continuing with that understanding. 100% you can have unreliable narrators and these sort of things. It totally makes sense. If the players can't resolve or decide between two statements, choose a game with rock, paper, scissors. or picking the highest card out of the major arcana deck. The winning player decides how the conflict is resolved. Okay, you got that, but hopefully you're collaborating enough to actually write a really good story. What is Dead Voicemail Society? Well, we're going to find out. There's a rule for it. There's a variant for it. That's what we're going to look at. This would be super weird to play in person. I feel like it wouldn't be weird. It would just, like, you just need to be very trusting with the other person. I prefer this idea of doing it separately and maybe recording your voice or something and sending that through if they were going to do that voice thing, just because then you have a proper time to react and really take it in, I think. I don't know, it'd be interesting to do both. I definitely would prefer the remote version for sure, just because I think it'd be more interesting to do that separately, and give yourself time as well. I think that's the thing, is when you're doing it remotely, it's that sort of asynchronous way of play, whereas in person it's like, right, I'm going to respond right now. And I think it maybe loses it a little bit. But, absolutely. Conflicting ideas. That's statements about the world. Ideas about assets. Assets are associated with a specific vampire, even though they may have talked about or acted on by either vampire. For example, Ava holds a mysterious key, but Sam may still seek information about it. In this case, Ava controls the key. Yeah, absolutely. It's about who it belongs to at the beginning, for sure. So disputes about a specific aspect resolve in the favour of the player controlling the asset. Oh, I guess if you've learned it out, then maybe they do have something. Conflicting ideas about player character outcomes. So if in doubt, the outcome of a vampire's actions and conflicting views arise between players. The conflict is resolved in the favour of the vampire whose character it is. A player has absolute authority over their character. You may invite opinions at any time, but there's no obligation to weave them into your narrative. Yeah, you decide what happens to your vampire at the end of the day. Absolutely. Stakes. So character death or retirement. You may reach a point where it makes no sense for a vampire to continue in the game. For example, they may have resolved their goals, been discovered by a tenacious vampire hunter, or been blackmailed into walking away from their investigation. Assuming this is an agreed upon trigger to end the game, there are a few ways forward. Retire the character and play a new vampire, fill in a new application form to the Dead Letter Society, and continue as per building a character. Society matches the new vampire to the ongoing one, and play continues from a new perspective. I quite like that. Makes it very straightforward, simple. Assume another vampire discovers the cache of letters and any journals the departing vampire may have left behind, e.g. after death or fleeing. This vampire discovers the society accidentally. If the new vampire does not join a society, players should work together to decide how to exchange letters. Vampires subverting society network undertake their exchange at significant risk. Discuss these risks and how disastrously this new letter exchange could end. Interesting if you're not doing it by the society. Assume that another supernatural creature or even a human discovers the letter cache and journals. Do they attempt to infiltrate the society by masquerading as a vampire? Do they try to work around the society? As above, consider what new risks and dangers you may encounter during play. I think I like that idea of, like, the vampire hunter was one that was sort of came in before I'd found them and would, like, I don't know, coax them in some way. I do like the idea of, like, almost like return to sender or something like that. Ending the game. So the game ends after the agreed upon number of letters are exchanged. Characters have satisfied their end game goals, or one or both of the players think their narrative has run its course. After the final letter, each player completes one final chronicle phase as an epilogue to their vampire's story, achieving closure wherever possible. Optional, compare your journals and talk about the choices you made. That is going to be fascinating to look at, absolutely. What choices led to your conclusion? What happened that you chose not to share in your letters? If one player decides that the game has reached its conclusion but the other wishes to continue, consider using the solo variant, They Never Reply. Oof, brutal. She's gonna have back pain in the morning, that lady. It's a bit like Alice is Missing. In person, that is just sat in a lot of awkward silence. It's tricky because I've only ever played Alice is Missing online, remotely. I don't know if you've played it yourself, Bad Spot. I don't know what it would like in person. I think the only thing about in person is that with the movement of the cards, when it says that at this time this person turns over this card so everyone can see. Because that was the only problem I had with the VTT version, was that I didn't really get that bit of it personally, because I think it's sometimes you're not looking at the screen that it's on. But if you're on your phone and you see someone get up and like show an object, etc., it's fine. I don't know. I haven't tried it in person. I've done it online and I enjoyed it very much online. And hopefully with the new version that's coming, Silent Falls, I think that's printing now. So I'd like to try it again, and I'd like to try it in person and see what happens there. But again, your mileage may vary completely on that. So I definitely understand why people might not want to do it in person. I think the only thing with that particular game is making sure that you're with people that you actually trust to do it. I don't know if I'd do that with strangers. You can do it for convention play. I think there's some rules about it when we covered it here on this channel that you could do it for conventions. I was like, I don't think I'd ever run Alice is Missing at a convention personally. That's not the sort of game that I would necessarily want to play with strangers. That's just me on that front. Now, here we go. The optional rules is what we were looking for before. So optional rules may be agreed upon from the beginning. For example, the story so far and the tarot deck variations work best from the start. Other optional rules can be applied when needed if both players agree. So, use this variant rule if you want to... the story so far. Use this variant rule if you want more inspiration when starting the game. Each player completes one round of the Chronicle Pass without receiving the letter from the other and spends up to 3 Chronicle points exploring the situation that's led them to join the Dead Letter Society. Ooh, I like that. Yeah, to give a bit more backstory. Absolutely. Afterwards, one player proceeds to the letter phase and the other to the society phase, and then play continues as usual. I think I would absolutely encourage that rule, actually. I mean, I don't know. I'm in two spaces. I'm like, yeah, let's just do it and then come up on the fly. But I can imagine this being really rich in the sense of like, all right, how did I get here? And exploring why I would have joined this society. So yeah, I do quite like that. And maybe I would encourage that for first time playing it. And Dead Voice Note Society. If you dislike writing or lack time, consider sending a voice message instead of a letter. If playing in person or by video, summarize your letters out loud and roleplay scenes from society and Chronicle phases. Okay, so I guess it's talking about when you would roleplay those. I guess yeah. If you don't want to write down in your journal, you just speak aloud what happens. That's what I tend to do when I do solo RPGs, or where I try and do it on. I sort of speak aloud what my thoughts are, write down some notes, and then I just speak aloud what was in the notes, which is fun, but it is a bit like several layers to it. But yeah, I love the idea of a voice message instead. That's pretty cool. One for me, one for you. So during the society phase, draw 2 cards from the major arcana instead of 1. Consult both prompts. Choose one to act on for yourself and the other face down to the other player. You'll have 2 prompts to resolve during the society phase from turn 2 onwards. One you choose yourself and one face down, one from your partner. When resolving prompts, turn the face down card over after choosing between the cards. Resolve the cards in any order. Okay, so you have more stuff to talk about, more stuff to put in your journals, and then maybe more stuff you want to communicate with the letters, or maybe keep back from it. I don't know if I'd use that on the first turn, or first playthrough of this game, but I appreciate it nonetheless. I think it's good to add more stuff, and maybe for longer games, this will be useful for. That's the thing that was probably missing. I think it just say like, use this. If you're beginning your first Dead Letter Society, use this one. Like this one, this is better for longer games. That's what I'm getting from that one at least. I'd agree. It's not something I'd want to play with strangers. Yeah, 100%. We've played it using WhatsApp on desktop, which makes using a VTT much easier. Yeah, online only. Yeah. We used Discord actually, which was actually, you know what I will say with the Discord stuff, that was very useful because we could see each other, and the person because you can get. Sorry, we're going off topic completely, but Alice Smith, they had like, here's some Discord things you can put in, and it was really good, but I can imagine the setup for that with all the different permissions and stuff was really difficult. But yeah, WhatsApp on web 100% makes it a lot easier. It is that gathering those voicemails at the beginning and then playing them through. I think that's why they opted for Discord in the end, but I can't remember off the top of my head. But we had the timer, the 90-minute music timer, which was great. Really enjoyed that. Right, pyramid prompts. So it's another variant rule. So each card has a 3-word prompt to use as inspiration. Oh yes, we saw that at the top there. This variant rule subtly changes these prompts to prompts according to the saying fast, cheap, good. Pick 2. This variant rule subtly changes these prompts to according to the saying fast, cheap, good. Choose two of the 3 words to occur as they are. The third happens in the opposite sense. For example, the 3 of Cups has the words celebration, friendship, and joy, which we now interpret as an event where we celebrate with friends but are weighed down by despair. We celebrate joyfully for we discovered the betrayal of supposedly friends, or we've discovered the betrayal of us supposed friends before they hurt us. We express joy with friends but cannot celebrate because of a setback. I see, so you pick 2 out of the triangle, essentially. I get you now. That's cheap good? What? I see now. Oh, that's quite... Okay, I like that. I like it. Again, I don't know if I'd use it on the first run through of this game. Then again, it's just a way to mix it up a little bit. But yeah, I like that a lot. We've got tarot card variants. So normally these cards are not returned to their decks after use. If you reach the end of the deck, reshuffle it and begin again. But an alternative way, you may wish to try 1 deck per player. That makes sense if you're playing remotely. Reshuffle. After drawing and resolving the 6 Major Arcana card, shuffle all the cards back into their respective decks. You may receive repeated prompts with this version and need to interpret them differently based on your circumstances and questions asked. Yeah, that's always going to be the risk, I guess. And in the Major Arcana endgame, when the final card of the Major Arcana deck is revealed, use its prompt to decide how your time with the Dead Letter Society ends. This variant is incompatible with the reshuffle. Yeah, that makes sense because you're just constantly shuffling them back in. I like that as an ending one for sure, using its prompts to decide how your time ends. I'm just wondering, how many Major Arcana are there? Is it 22 off the top of my head? Or maybe I've just made that up because of the Book of Many Things, perhaps. Anyway, let's look at the solo play. First, you decide if you'd like to play as 1 vampire or 2. Why not both? If playing 2 vampires, modify the how to play sequence as follows. Fill in 2 application forms, 1 for each vampire, and decide the application fee for both. It's basically going to say you just created 2 characters, right? Choose which vampire writes first and write their first letter. Set the letter aside. Begin the society phase for the second vampire and journal their experience. React to the set aside letter during the chronicle phase. Write the second vampire's response and set it aside. Resolve steps 3 to 5 for each vampire until satisfied. Oof, that sounds difficult. I'll be honest, that sounds really difficult. Like a lot to put on you. Like I think for this you wouldn't do it in one session, you'd do it over several weeks. Like you'd write 1 letter one day and then do the other vampire admin the next day. Just so that you're not having to just so you give that breathing space and react like as if you're reading it for the first time even though you know what you've written. Instead of playing as 2 vampires, journal as 1 using the following turn sequence. Fill in 1 application form for your vampire and decide on the application fee. Fill in a second application, this is optional, form representing your letter writing companion. Provide them with assets but skip the application fee. Instead of receiving a letter during the chronicle phase, draw a card from the Major Arcana and use its prompt to journal about the letter's content. Interesting. And then optional, involve the other vampire's asset in your impression of the letter as instructed by the Major Arcana card prompt. Okay, and then they never reply. In this variant, you play as a single vampire who never receives a letter in response. Write a journal entry about how you feel each time you don't receive a response. What has happened to them? Will they ever write back? Are they even receiving your letters? Ooh, brutal. More stuff here. I'll have to take a look at the Discord template. I'm running it again in April. Oh, amazing! The Roll20 plugin that came with the original Kickstarter was pretty good, I thought. Yes, I don't have that myself. I again played that something, but yeah, that could be interesting. There is a very good Discord template on the Alice's Missing website. I run that game a lot and always use it. I use the Roll20 module in conjunction with it. Roll20 for card pools, Discord for communication. Works best if you have multiple monitors. 100. I wish. You know what I was thinking the other day, guys? I was thinking I have laptop and I obviously have my big screen. But what if I had 3? What if I just when I eventually moved to my new place? What why don't I just get massive F off screen? You can't stop me. Something is wrong with the society. The society refuses to connect you to another vampire. Your letters, therefore, should be addressed to the society itself as you try to convince them your goals are worth pursuing. Perhaps someone within the society is blocking you on purpose. Oh, I like these variants. Yeah, 100%. If I was doing a solo one, these ones absolutely. Love that. That goes with that political intrigue ones we were talking about. And then card prompts. So these are the prompts that make changes to your assets. Major Arcana cards change at least 3 assets, whilst Minor Arcana cards offer a choice between 2 assets. Resolve changes to your assets in any order in your journal. Each card also has a free word prompt that comes back to the this one up here, the pyramid prompts. And a journal prompt. The free word prompt prompts you to relate the overarching themes of the card, whilst the journal prompt offers inspirations for you to interpret in your response. You should always feel able to replace a prompt with an idea you love. The prompt exists to inspire and complicate your. Oh, that's a nice little spread there, and then it goes on to the Major Arcana one, so it gives an example of these ones. We won't look at them too much. Tell you what, let me grab. I'm a white woman in her 30s. Of course I've got an Arcana deck close to hand, a tarot deck. Alright. Typically though, I probably wouldn't have out. No, I haven't. What's the first? What's up? Oh, the Hermit. I've got the Hermit here. What the Hermit says. It's number 9. There you go, the Hermit. The Hermit says, introspection, solitude, and serenity. Does the society read everything that passes through its hands? Is anything truly anonymous? Do they know you better than you know yourself? Your head swirls with questions triggered by an innocent enough query, a young child wide-eyed and wild-haired tugging at your sleeve asking about the last thing you wrote. Oh gosh. Coincidence? Warning? You retreat to mull this over and decide you're on your course of action. No matter what, there is only one way to get your message to your companion. The society. What do you do? And then on this side, forfeit an item in the letter, forfeit a location, progress, and ambition. Nice. Right, let me look at another one. Let's go for. It's just because I saw it there. The Lovers. So that's my Lovers card there. Lovers. Mary Pratchett had 6 monitors set up. It's good enough. 6 monitors in this economy, man. If I had a desk that could. I remember I went over when I was first visiting my partner in the US, and he was part of a fraternity, which is a whole different experience in itself, which I will talk about, I'm sure, on a different stream. But going into one of the other guys' rooms, seeing their desk, which was fairly big anyway, having 3 monitors, and then on the wall another 3 monitors, which were all on and had something like going on. It was wild. I think one of the monitors on the desks, one of those curved, like really big ones, as well as having the extra ones playing playing some sort of video game. It was absolutely wild. Anyway, sorry. The Lovers. So, choice, connection, relationships. The society allows relationships to flourish, but which relationships exactly? Only those it has decided can meet and exchange ideas. It may match deadly rivals who wish to spar with words, or lovers-to-be who have yet to learn how to complement each other. This network of relationships, dictated by the whims of the society, exists for good or ill. Why do you think they matched you with your companion? But develop an actor, forfeit a principle, or declare a principle. They're good prompts, aren't they? I like it. Look at that one, the Wheel of Fortune. Let's see if I can the Wheel of Fortune card. Oh, it just came up. Look at that Wheel of Fortune card. Oh, you have to have a D12 there. So your thoughts turn to how quickly your fortunes have changed since joining the society. You can feel the winds of change blowing, howling even. What do you hope the next days will bring? What happens instead? And it says roll a D12 3 times, and I guess you go from there. But before you could just choose, and now it's like you roll. It didn't say you needed dice, to be fair, did it? Right, I'm gonna go back. I don't think it did. Oh no, there's roll tables. I'm an idiot. This is me trying to be super clever. I was not. Yeah, you can roll for it as well. Fair enough. Alright. Let's move on. There's some good examples there. I quite like those. Wands. Alright, and then it goes into the minor arcana as well. And it's an example of like action, passion, energy. So you wake up with an idea more consuming than your hunger. It burns through you and demands you act on it. Do you feel excitement or dread in this moment? You get two options: declare an ambition or progress an ambition. This marks a new start. What's new and surprising direction are you taking your journey in? Or progress an ambition. What you desire is within reach. And you feel nervous excitement as you go for it. In what way do you feel like you could be doing so much more? I've seen a thing I just want to clarify. I assume you can have, I've said this before, I think you can have multiple ambitions, right? Must be. It didn't have it on that example paper. Right, let's scoot ahead, because I do want to have a look at the okay. So yeah, I wanted to have a look at some of the a little bit. I don't want to focus on them too much, because obviously we could do this in our own time. Let me just put my cards away. You don't need to see me fiddling with various cards, but I've got 3 decks and I don't know how to use them, but yeah, I've got the Modern Witch tarot card deck, so there's some really nice illustrations in it. So this section contains pre-built settings, characters, and introductory letters for a variety of genres. Use them as you see fit, deciding the appropriate society application fees. My computer's about to turn itself off. Use these for the characters you use. As you play, recall that the oaths they swear to keep them are made to be broken. Let's not do the Lovecraftian one. I wanted to look at... Ooh. Oh, I see. Look at that beginning ones there. Let's... do I want to do... No, I'm going to look at... what time are we on? Oof, nearly 2 hours. Let's look at the sci-fi one. That sounded quite fun. Sorry, I'm zooming ahead. I mean, yeah, I know, Tea Time Detective Club, I know, but you just read the book. I'm reading it. Where's this? Where is the... Generation ships, here we go. So the time has come to leave the Earth behind and set forth on adventures to other worlds. The distances are vast, and humans are not immortal. They construct gargantuan ships to cross the void. It's a fragile ecosystem, alone in space, and we are an unexpected variable. So the features, so this is what I was talking about before, so these are the features of the blessing and curses. To define a vampire in this setting is agility. We can leap vast distances across supports that should not bear our weight and fit into small spaces a human of similar size would struggle with. Unseen. Our bodies are cool and we do not show up on sensors that detect life. Yes. Plague bearer. When we bite another to feed, we transmit the disease that causes vampirism. Whoever we do not kill has to be like us. Vice. Each of us finds our own way of coping with the eternity ahead, but our old habits are never good ones. Or our habits are never good ones. Oh, no, why have I done that? No, you idiot. I don't know why I did that. Alright, so these are one of the 2 sort of pre-generated characters. We've got Jackie Lowe, so they are a vampire on a mission. She believes that corporations are building and launching the generation ships have lied about their true purpose. She's boarded one in an attempt to expose their deceit and hopefully their escape. Oh, hey, that's good to see. She there, getting different pronouns? Oh, she's only recently gone though, so age 23, but apparent age is 22. I mean, there's such a big gap there. The sire is Kit Gray. Most treasured item, that's small but serviceable. Their bunk. Ensign Phibbs Michael is a weasel and a snitch. Yeah, fuck that guy. I have a cheap cybernetic left arm that sometimes goes on the fritz. I will get home again. Find out where the ship is really going and why, and that's a difficulty of 3. Ooh, straightforward enough. Ooh, there you go. Begin transmission. Listen up, fighter. Listen well, because what I tell you has to be passed on in case I don't make it back. I'm Jackie Lowe, an ensign on aboard the GSS Lightwind. I worked my ass off to get this post, not because I want to see new worlds, but because I know the ship isn't going to find any. The corporations that made it are lying to everyone back on Earth, I'm sure of it, and I'm going to expose a lot of them. Earth's a mess, I get it. Everyone who's no one spends 99% of their day jacked into the network doing their menial drone thing. No one's paying attention because they're kept too busy ensuring they don't drop off the grid. Because we know what happens to those who drop off the grid, don't we? They're neglected, ignored, and left to die and rot in the streets with us. Plague-ridden lot that we are. Not that people on the grid know about vampires beyond what they play in their hollow games. They just know it's a cesspool of disease down there. Which it is. While everyone runs in their hamster wheels, the corporations keep getting bigger, and rather than having people panic, they make grand claims about us being able to go off to settle new worlds. We ain't going anywhere. All the people on board have been sold a lie, and I know I can prove it if I get a little time. They're hiding something on here. Everything else is just a facade masking corporate greed. And when I find out what they're up to, you'll be the first person to know. And if I don't get off this hulk, tell everyone else. End transmission. Oh, is it just one person? I skipped over that person. I'm so sorry. Ben Lamb. I'm so sorry. I completely skipped you. Ben Lamb is an escaped prisoner who's been on the run for 2 years. He was bitten shortly after his escape and left for dead in a dark, lonely alley. He survived, rose as a vampire, and learnt the hard way that his rebirth was against the draconian laws of vampire society. Evading 2 sources of capture was too much, so he followed the lead of other fugitives who stowed away on Generation ships, heading out into the depths of space. Ben hopes he's safe out amongst the stars. What could go wrong? Oh, what could go wrong indeed? Doesn't know who the sire is. Okay. Ensign Rowling. She caught me climbing into the vents and didn't report me. Oh, a burn mark covers my shoulder. It covers the prison identification number. I won't put the crew in danger. I need to talk to someone if I'm to keep this disease under control. A difficulty of 2. Right. Feels very Farscape in a way, doesn't it? I don't know why I said that. It's been ages since Farscape. It just came to my mind just then. Beginning transmission. My name is Ben Lamb, and I'm a stowaway on the Gaia's Wish Generation ship. What a name. Headed for heck knows where. I'm alone out here, so some company would be appreciated to pass the time and curb the cravings. The ship is enormous. It's well provisioned for a long journey, and I found a spot in the air vents where no one will ever look. Most people are frozen in cryopods. Oh, heck. There's a skeleton crew running this place. You'll get lonely real quick. But it doesn't mean it will be easy to evade people for now. Oh, it does mean it will be easy to evade people for now. Are you also tucked away in one of these hulks? I know a few who escaped with me took a chance on different ships. Or are you sitting in a cubicle flat on Earth wired into the network? I need to find a place to jack in. The jitters are already starting. I need to feel the buzz of code in my ears, the ultimate distraction from the need to eat. To kill. It's too late for second thoughts. I needed to get away, so I did. I'll find a way to eat that doesn't harm the people here. Blood bags, maybe? Shipwrats. Anything to avoid the spread of disease. I like the idea that there is still shipwrecks on these bloody places, that they still manage, super clean things. They still have pests. If it was built in London, absolutely it would. It'll get out of hand real quick if I don't keep it in check. This ship is spectacular, by the way. A true feat of engineering, all clinical chrome and steel. I noted a few discrepancies, though, between where the corridors and the air vents go. There might be something hidden here, so, of course, I'm going to look. Just remember, don't break anything. We're in space, and no one's coming to rescue us. I hope I'm the only one with the vampire plague on the ship. The less I think about it, the better. End transmission. Oh, I love that. I'm on my laptop and battery's about to die. We'll catch the VOD later. Catch you sometime too, hopefully, Fiona. Thank you so much, JC Darcy. Thank you so much for being here. I very much appreciate you. And that was Jackie Lowe, so we've done that bit. And then we've got some resources, we've got links to stuff. Oh, excellent. We'd love a good QR code. Hopefully those still work. But yeah, massive fan of those sort of things. Use the tables. Ah, so this is where you would roll for it as well. Yeah, I was right. It was 22 cards, so a D22. Those cards don't exist, but again, if you just do a random number generator, you would absolutely find them. Oh, and then a D56, of course. Actually, well, you just roll... Hang on, what would you do? Yeah, you just roll a D4 and then halve it. Sort of. And then round up or round down. What you do for those ones, I think. And then 56. I don't know what you do for that. Just 5 and 6, I guess. Right, and then there's a form at the end. Assets. Ah, so this is a separate assets. Oh, you put it... Oh, there you go. It's on a separate one. That's a character thing. Put your items and stuff there. And there's a black and white version as well. I did look to see if there was a form fillable version. I couldn't find anything. Deaf doesn't mean can't write back. But there you go. That is our read-through of Dead Society. Bang on 2 hours. Nice work, me. What do we make of it? First of all, how easy was that to read? Oh, simple language, not too columned, and actually decent font. That's been a while since I've had that. I'm very, very lucky at that. And I think the playthrough examples, actually, they weren't too long, and they made sense, and it was just simple. That's the problem I have with the play examples. Sometimes I do feel that it's a little bit, not simplistic, but a bit over, they go over it way too much. Where I'm like, oh, I just need a quick example of one thing. I don't need you to go like, the GM says this. Sally, I want to do this, and just go through it like that. That's just not my personal taste, personally. I think the artwork's pretty good as well. Like, very straightforward, very evocative of what we're trying to achieve in the game. That last playset was quite good. So I wanted to say, though, I think it would be cool to have those, those variants, those optional rules. If you could say, like, hey, if you're playing the game for the first time, maybe consider this, or play this for if you're having games of 5 or more letters per player. That would be something. Yeah, and it's very much. I mean, ultimately, there's no stats to the character sheets. It's just you making things. It definitely feels the vibe of Forbidden Vampire, 1,000-year-old vampire for sure. Yeah, and not as much dice rolling as Quill had. Quill was all about dice rolling, about like how the letter was written, the style of it, and how did it look when we finished it, etc. For each paragraph. Yeah, I actually really like this. Would I play this? I think I would play this as a 2-player game. I feel like the solo version, for me, I definitely would prefer it to have those optional rules. Oh, it is. Look at that. It's all linked in. I would prefer the optional rules of the never reply. I feel playing both sides is quite intense. Like, you have to be really, really dedicated for it, and you want to make characters who are separate enough that could, that aren't the same person just writing to each other. Because sometimes I would struggle with that myself personally. And then even here, if you instead of playing, you just play as one and journaling as well. I think because there's more to it. It's not you just writing a letter to one other person. It's you writing letters, but also journaling about stuff that's happened to you, but that might not make it into letters, etc. I love the idea of doing the the voice note one, which might add something to it. But there is something about the journaling, just to journal, getting your thoughts down and getting it into certain order. And people love doing letter writing phase. I think the only thing I'd say as well, setting an expectation for time, how long you're going to spend on it, maximum word count. Again, I did appreciate that. I think as a writing exercise, so that you're not constantly editing yourself. Certainly if you're writing your letter on word processing. It's very easy to just edit as you go. I think encouraging people just to write, no matter what, and having a timer on it. You have 10 minutes to write this letter, and or write something. I think have a timer on it so that you're not spending too much time, because I think you've got to progress the game forward. You've got to move forward and so. What a really good RPG. I actually feel quite like, like I really want to play it now. I really want to somehow like do a version of it for the podcast in some way, or like document, because it's about that behind the scenes stuff, like the journaling stuff as well as letters. That's what makes it interesting for me. So there you go. Yeah, very cool. Oh, very cool. Great light. You summarise all my thoughts in one. The Bad Spot version. So if you want to grab your own copy, put a link to it in the chat. That's on montfordstales.itch.io. It is on DriveThruRPG as well. I did check that. And also you can get, presumably on both versions, you can get like form fillable, character sheets, etc. Maybe some other assets. It came out last year, so that was pretty good. So, and maybe again, if you go to that, was it on the? Is it going to work? No, it won't work. Safety. Oh, that was a safety tool thing. There you go. You can also, you see, so you can see you can get it all sorts of things. So like spreads of pages as in ebook form. Hooray! Oh look, you can get it as a Discord bot. It did talk about Discord bots a little bit. Again, it'd be interesting to see how it would play. Is that a template? Is that God knows what it is? But that's interesting that you could do it there as well. I guess in that sort of like posting play by post sort of thing. But if you want to get a physical copy, you can get it from the actual store, or you've got some places here in the UK. Sorted Funeral, of course, they're everywhere, those folks. It's nice that you can get a physical copy out there. Thank you so much for joining me for this stream. I appreciate. Let me hang on. Big Fiona cam. Big face. Ah, there we go. Thank you for joining me with this. Because I wasn't sure if I was going to stream anything tonight, and unlikely I'll be able to do anything tomorrow. I'm hoping to do some more of these in the week. I do really enjoy it. It's just a way for me to read out loud. And that was really good to read out loud, actually. I feel like, apart from actually saying the word epistory. Epistory? No. Thank you so much. My name is Fiona. I also run, in addition to these streams, I run What Am I Rolling? Not even in the chat, Fiona. So professional. Where you can listen to other RPGs that I've run and a lot of the interviews with game designers as well. We've got an episode coming out tomorrow, she says. I need to write the script for it and record the intro for tomorrow. So there's that coming out with Laurie O'Connell, who is of To Honor and Obey. They just had their Kickstarter of a death game, I think, finish on the 14th, which is basically like... if you like your Battle Royale, if you like your Squid Game, it is a game that sort of emulates that, but it's not a versus game between players. You're all working together on it, and it sounds really heckin' cool. I think in a similar vibe of Deathmatch Island, which is also coming out by Evil Hat Games, I want to say as well. Look out for that episode when it comes out. If you like Fiona, hope to catch you back in this regular stream. Well, are you around tomorrow? The Bad Spot. I'll be doing the game tomorrow, and I'm going to definitely try to be in the games on the Mondays when we do them, because I really, really love doing them. I'm so bad at them, as you know, but I'm looking. I really enjoy it. I want to know more about it. I want to be decent. The high you get from actually getting it right is unbelievable. I'm sure you're the same as me. What else was I? If you like Fiona, let's get the. You're like, Fiona, we only like D&D, and you're like, well, you're bloody wrong, but we do have a D&D podcast as well. It's the DM's Book Club, where myself and my co-host Hamilton and a whole range of guests come on and talk about D&D and how we can improve it and put it into our campaigns, because, as always, we read the books so you don't have to. I highly recommend checking out our episode on The Book of Many Things that came out a couple of weeks ago. I got a compliment the other day which says someone said, I listened to it and I almost bought it off your recommendation. I was like, buy it, it's really good. But yeah, we talk lots about obviously D&D lore, but also like just the simple game mechanics, but anything really. We talk about a lot of other games on the podcast as well, and hopefully the GM's book club, I'll get around to actually setting that up soon. And we do a travel book club. We go to all the different planes as part of the Planescape sort of aurora that we went through. But those are the 2 podcasts. Final thing. I'll be on the stream game in March for sure. Oh, brilliant. I'll see you there. Yeah, townsfolk. Wink. Final thing. I always keep forgetting this, but if you're like, hey, I'd like some dice. I don't know if anyone uses the offer code, but you get 10% off at Tabletop Dominion with the promo code which you can get. I bought some dice on my own offer code, because why the heck not? Pays for the postage. But yeah, they've got some really nice dice, and Tabletop Dominion actually has some really cool like modular dice trays as well, so you might want to check that out there. Anyway, I've spoken too long. It's late. Go to bed, or good morning wherever you are. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm sure I'll be back on this stream. But I guess final thing. There is a Discord for the podcast, but come and chat to us, and that's probably where you hear about when I'm going to do another stream, so you don't have to worry about just when is she going, etc. But anyway, there's all the stuff. I'm going to go. Thank you so much for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your weekend if you're watching this now, or just enjoy the rest of your day, regardless where you are. Find the end of stream button, wave, say goodnight. Bye.